My name is Suzie and we're in Hadspen and I teach yoga in the township of Hadspen.
What do you love about yoga?
What do I love about yoga? Yoga is very much a way of life. It's not only does it help you physically, but it helps you mentally, it helps you with your breath, it helps with anxiety. It's just a perfect all-rounder as far as keeping you healthy and fit and happy and all those sorts of things, yeah.
How did your yoga journey begin?
My yoga journey began when I was in my mid-20s, and I'm a hairdresser who happens to be 6 foot tall, and I was having a lot of postural problems and thoracic spine problems. And after trying many sorts of different things to try to fix it, one of my hippie clients suggested trying yoga, which I'd never actually heard of. And so I went along to a class and I was hooked, and I've never looked back since then. So then I practiced with many teachers for many years and then decided to do teacher training, which took me 4 years, and then I started teaching here in Hadspen in 2010, and then I started teaching from my home in 2013.
How long did the teacher training take? You trained with Lynn Edwards?
Years. Yeah. I actually did the practical side of it with Lynn Edwards at the Rosebery Yoga Centre, and I had to do all the theory side of it because there's a lot to learn. There's the philosophy of yoga, there's of course the anatomy, the postures, and that took 4 years.
Okay.
And I did that by distant education with the Australian College of Classical Yoga in Melbourne. Yeah.
So you do Hatha yoga?
Yes.
Is the training specific to Hatha, or is it different? Is it all encompassing, and then you go off from there?
Yeah, the yoga that I was trained in was classical yoga. It's a lot more about the philosophy, about Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, meditation, and not so much about the postures. I then learnt the physical side of it from Lynn, who was a teacher of mine for 5 years. And that taught you about alignment, what the postures do for the body and the organs, and yeah, all that sort of stuff.
Can you talk a little bit about the differences between the types of yoga?
Yeah. So when you are talking about classical yoga or Hatha yoga, it's very much the postures with the breath and the movement. Then there is another type of yoga where all you do is meditate.
Cool.
I don't know. I can't think off the top of my bloody head. I can't think off the top. Anyway, then there's Iyengar yoga, which is very postural, and you use a lot of props and things like that. There's Ashtanga yoga, which is more of a fast-moving sequence of postures that you do. Then you've got your Yin yoga, which is very slow, restorative, longer stretches, longer holds of postures. Then you've got your restorative yoga where you use props, and it's more just very slow, relaxing, releasing, letting go.
What should people expect from a class? How long does a class go for?
All right.
What happens?
So my classes go for 90 minutes, and I start the class with 10 minutes of meditation. So that just brings us into the present moment. Yeah, just arriving on the mat, letting go of the day and just being here and now. Then we warm the body up with a bit of joint rotation and a little bit of movement, and bring the movement and focus onto the breath. Then we move through a sequence of postures depending on whether we want to open up into the shoulders, the spine, work on the hips, the legs, building strength, stamina throughout the body. And then I always finish with at least 10 to 15 minutes of Shavasana, which is relaxation. And that's a guided relaxation where you lay down, get comfortable, have an eye pillow, blanket, and I just guide you through your body, and you simply relax and let go of each part of the body, which is lovely to do. And 10-15 minutes of Shavasana is probably equivalent to about 2 hours sleep.
It's a great space you've got here. How many people would be in the class?
Usually 8.
Okay.
Yeah, usually 6 to 8. So just very small. I also do private classes, so that's just one-on-one. So I'm a part of the private health banner, so you can get the doctor's referral and then come and we can work through a sequence of yoga postures and practices, breathing practices, just to help with your daily life. I've had a lot of injuries myself over the years, and I've found through yoga I've been able to strengthen and improve my flexibility and my mobility very much, and yeah, so it's been good.
Is there a type of person who really benefits from yoga? I know there's a...
Look, to be honest, I've had all types here, and I think anyone and everyone can benefit from yoga in their daily life, whether it be they do weight training, distance running, it doesn't matter. And even through injuries, of course, yoga totally helps you with that.
You mentioned before about you've been using some filming and technology,
yes,
and doing yoga in other locations as well. Can you talk a bit about
yes.
that?
So I just worked out, trying to, the whole, what's it called? The funnel system, where you try to get people's emails and things like that. So I had on my Instagram page a little free offering of 3 little mini yoga classes, one for flexibility, one for strength, and one for mobility, called the Midlife Mobility Method. And that was good. So then, of course, I was able to get people's emails, and then the next little funnel from that was a sequence of 3 videos called the Ageless Yoga Method. $29 for 3 30-minute videos on hips and spine and shoulders and increasing flexibility, mobility, strength, and also a bonus breathing practice of probably about 20 minutes of just some different breathing practices, the pranayama practice of yoga. And then that then funnels on to then possibly yoga retreats and things like that. Yeah.
So you've gone on yoga retreats, taken yoga retreats. Were they up, was that Cradle Mountain, or it was in the mountains
Yeah,
somewhere?
there was one that I wanted to do, I didn't end up doing, but it was up at the Thousand Lakes Lodge, and I'd still really like to do that.
Okay.
But I didn't get enough interest to want to go up there. I don't know why. Yeah, it's a beautiful place, and it's up at Lake Augusta. But it takes, interestingly enough, retreats and that takes quite a bit of organisation, and then of course you've got to have someone to cook, and I guess my demographic of yoga students, a lot of them were going away this year and had other things crop up, so it was like no.
Sorry, yeah.
And also people probably wouldn't trek off and do a yoga retreat with you unless they knew you. I would, and I do, but your average person doesn't. Yeah, I'm actually going to Bruny Island next weekend with a bunch of people that I've never met before to do yoga and that sort of thing. And I've travelled to Bali and India and New Zealand and lots of different places and gone on yoga retreats and met some fantastic people. But not everyone would do that. So yeah, but I guess that the common thing, you all come together for one reason, whether yoga, exercise, religion, whatever. Yeah.
You're clearly showing quite a bit of enterprise by you running your own yoga studio, do hairdressing as well.
Yeah.
You're into the marketing side of things and
Try.
business?
Yeah. I've been doing this now for over 10 years, and I've managed to survive and do what I need to do and travel, and still have that passion for teaching people yoga and making people feel good and look good. And I guess you're right. Yeah. And I've also noticed, it's probably since COVID as well, things have changed. A lot more has gone online, and so people will look at YouTube and things like that for a yoga practice. You don't get the same experience as what you do coming to a live class, because I am teaching a person the tools and the awareness to understand their body and watching someone on a screen doesn't give you that. You actually, I know myself, you need someone to physically look at you and you're not quite in alignment there. Try doing this, that, lift your heels, bend your knees, and then you get the proper experience and the proper self-awareness, which a lot of us are missing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of value there that screens don't offer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Some of the highlights and challenges over the last 10 or so years?
Highlights have been seeing the changes in people, especially people who suffer with a bit of anxiety and depression, stress, also really tight bodies that are sitting at desks all day or driving and things like that. Seeing them grow and change is wonderful, and I really enjoy that. I've had some weirdos come through the door. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, I'm interested.
This was hilarious. So I had a guy come for some private classes, and he was from WA, and he just happened to be living in the local area, and he was going through some court issues. And I was like, okay, and was very stressed and needed to do yoga. And I was like, okay. So he came along for 2 classes a week for 6 weeks, and towards the end of that time, he was like, oh, I'd really love for you to come to WA to teach my wife and I yoga for a week. And I was like, okay. He goes, I'll pay for everything. Can you just come and stay in our house and we'll do yoga every day? And I was thinking, okay, this sounds a bit too good to be true. Anyway, so I messaged my girlfriend who lives in Perth, and I said, what do you think? And she goes, I suppose if you get there and there are a bunch of weirdos, you can always come and stay at my house. And I was like, anyway, I decided, because I had teenage daughters at the time, and I thought, no, I can't really disappear for a week. I don't really know these people. I don't know his wife. Anyway, so I turned him down. I said, no, look, I can't do that because of my children and what have you. Anyway, and then he just disappeared. 3 months later, he was on the front of the newspaper. He'd been a drug person bringing drugs into Tasmania and was going to jail for 8 years. And I thought, oh my gosh, I could have been a drug mule. Yeah, so that was a bit, you just never know. And then another time I had a guy just rock up out of the blue, like contact me and want to come to class. And I was like, okay. Anyway, so he came to class, and the first class he proceeded to swear a little bit in the class, and I'm a little bit like, please don't do that. Anyway, so he's like, oh, sorry, I didn't realise. Anyway, so then the next week he came to class, and then he proceeded to tell me halfway through the class how hot I was. And so I never let him come back. I just said, sorry, no availability. It's just, you just get people like that, and you've got to have a real professional boundary and a line that you just don't allow people to cross. So I've always managed to do that. And so then I've just ended up with nice people who come to class. There's no problems, no hassles, and
Well, that's the perfect outcome, really.
That's it.
People want to enjoy going to work.
That's right. That's exactly right. But also, I want people to come here and feel comfortable, and there's no pressure, there's no judgment. It's just you here on the mat working. Yoga is very much a solitary thing. You're not worrying about what everyone else is doing, what you can or can't do. It's very much about you on the mat, listening to me, guide you, teach you the tools so you can then go away and do your own practice. And that goes with all of it, from the postures to the breathing practices to then to meditation.
All right. Plans for the future?
Plans for the future. Slowing down a bit, actually, is my plan. I want to focus more on my practice because I've spent so long focusing on everyone else's practice that I've got to make sure I keep my own practice going. It's most important. And so, making sure that I have my time every day to get on the mat and do what I need to do and follow through with some other interests that interests me. I've noticed as I've gotten older, I've kind of want to do a bit more strength training and weight training and things like that. So I still incorporate my yoga into my daily life, my walking, and also a little bit of weight training. So yeah, as far as the future goes, also, I'd like to still do a retreat somewhere in Tasmania, but at the moment, I'm just enjoying going on retreats. So, yeah, and just seeing how other people kind of do it, and then thinking, yeah, I can easily do that.
And if people wanted to try and come to a class, they would find you on your website?
Yeah, on my website, on Google. You can contact me through Instagram or Facebook. Yeah, and I have flyers kicking around and things like that, yeah.
Very good. And last question, what's your favourite part of the Meander Valley?
I've lived in Hadspen for 30 years, nearly, and I love that I can walk by the river every day. I love that I can swim in the river in summer. I love that it's not too far away from Launceston. I also love that I can trek 45 minutes and go to a waterfall, which I do quite often. And yeah, that's my favourite thing about living in the Meander Valley. Turn her on. Let's come and do. I reckon probably if you just face each other, yeah, and then we'll. Okay. Right. So just inhale and concave your spine. So arch the spine, and then exhale, tuck the head, tuck the tailbone, round the spine. Inhale, concave the spine. So this is excellent for keeping the suppleness and the flexibility in your spine. Then come back into a cat, so round the spine, draw the belly button up towards the spine. Inhale, concave the spine. And we'll do one more. Exhale. And inhale. Good. Step your right leg forward. That's it. Inhale, come into a crescent lunge. Reach up. Good. Bring your hands down to the mat. Turn the toes under the back leg and step your right foot back and come into like a downward dog. So like an inverted V. Yeah, beautiful. Excellent. Stretch. All right, come down onto your knees. Bring your left foot forward. Lunge. Beautiful. And then inhale, reach up, crescent lunge. Excellent. Bring your hands back down. Take the left foot back to downward dog again. Lifting up. Breathing. And then come forward into plank. And then take your knees down to the floor. And then lower yourself down onto the mat. And bring the arms forward and come into Sphinx. Beautiful. And then back onto the knees and back into child pose. Good. And then come and face the camera. Sit cross-legged. Bring your hands to heart center. And namaste. Thank you. Excellent. How's that?
I'm feeling more
More zen.
Yeah, more zen and more limber, I think.